Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk, a platform that is dedicated and celebrates industry professionals all around the world because you are bold, yes, brave, yes, you dare greatly, absolutely, you collaborate, you solve problems, and you're making this world a better place, and that's why we celebrate you, absolutely, on this podcast. All right, and as you can tell, maybe you can tell, it's pretty quiet right now because this is a meeting and not a conference. We were with OMG on site, Austin, Texas, and I'm telling you, the interviews have been spectacular. And Christian and Tim, who are in the hot seat right now, it's not good to be them because I've been having great conversations, so they got to bring their A game to this conversation. But really, they have a podcast, so they should be doing great. Let's get cracking. Christian and Tim. Oh, by the way, Tim, I'm not sure if this is good or bad or whatever, but you win. You win the smallest business card, and if you're out there on videos, it's right there. Look at that. There it is. And I guarantee I'll probably end up losing it. I don't want to lose it, but I'm going to lose it probably. Yeah. It's not out of disrespect for you, Tim.
Okay.
All right. Having a good meeting, guys?
Sure.
Sure? No?
Yeah, it was a long week, so we're here.
When'd you guys pop in?
I'm in the SysML working groups.
Yeah.
So mainly the working group that works on the SysML version 2. And we met.
I got it.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're getting ready to release that version 2. You know,
Yes.
You had version 1 for whatever, whatever the time frame is.
More than 10 years.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And then you're getting ready to launch version 2. A lot of work. There's a lot of work in those documents.
It's amazing. It
is.
More than 1,000 pages, and we work on it since exactly 5 years ago. We started with the work on the document, so it's a long time. A lot of people working on it.
A lot of debating, a lot of gnashing of teeth, and what always fascinates me. We'll get to you, Christian. Just FYI, just hang tight. But what fascinates me is that you're able to do this in an environment that is constantly changing. It's like you had 5 years ago, so year 1 you're talking about stuff. It's not the same as it. I mean, there's just it happens so fast. You guys, I'm so glad you're doing it, Tim. Not me. I get to talk to you about it. Background, Christian. Give us a little information on Christian.
Yeah. Hello. My name is Christian MUGGEO'S. I'm a consultant and product manager at Contact Software. We are a PLM platform vendor from Germany. And yes, we have a couple of topics which are also in the interest of the OMG and the other way around.
Mantis,
yes.
Which is a cool name, by the way. I think it wins the cool name of the OMG. I have to ask about Contact Software. What is that?
Yeah, it's a family-owned business located in Bremen, Germany. We are a PLM software vendor.
What is that?
PLM is the management of any information regarding the product development cycle. So,
example.
The easiest example
Yes.
who everybody understands is managing your CAD documents, your CAD files. If you're a mechanical engineer, but it's the same for electrical engineering, also software engineering, and everything has to come together, and somehow you have to manage the versions, the configurations, and so on, and that's what we basically
Would I be interested in using the solution for my P&IDs, for my manufacturing or my whatever, my business? Mm-hmm. Because they never get updated. They just sort of sit on the side, and there it is. It just happens. All right. Christian, give us a little background into what Mantis is with OMG.
Yeah.
What do you guys do? What's that deliverable?
Yeah, Mantis is a so-called domain task force. It's somehow complicated how all these RTFs and FTFs and so on work, but it's a domain task force. It's about manufacturing and industrial systems, so that's what Mantis stands for. manufacturing technology and industrial systems. And we are developing standards together with different people who have a demand of a standard regarding manufacturing, but not manufacturing in the sense of assembling something, but in the OMG sense, manufacturing is everything that's not software.
Okay. But it has to be done. And to sort of pull on the string a little bit, how has it changed? What's impacting manufacturing? Because we've been to, and granted, manufacturing industry in general is being truly impacted by what is taking place from a technology perspective. And for me personally, I can appreciate what you and others do, as well as Tim's right down there, where there's that commitment to accuracy, the desire to really develop a standard that many can use to succeed, because it's happening. Correct. And I always think that you guys are at the tip of the sword here. What's happening and what's changing in manufacturing that needs this type of standards? What's going on?
Yeah, I would say, especially since all these Industry 4.0 or IoT discussions, people are getting the idea that systems and also digital twins of products have somehow to communicate with each other. And of course, that's true for the usage phase of the product, but it's also true for the manufacturing phase or even for the development phase of a product. And people are getting more and more issues with combining this information, the data and so on. Yeah. And that's exactly where we start, and we get in and say, hey, why isn't there a standard for that?
And then, of course, because of OMG and all these working groups, and then you start saying, is that really a need for a standard? And then you start to debate it, and then you start yelling at each other, and then you start doing everything that you're supposed to do.
That's roughly how it works, yeah.
Roughly. Maybe not in that. Maybe not in that order. Tim, I didn't ask you about OSE. OSE.
Yeah.
OSE. Okay, I got it there. What is that all about? Innovative...
Informatic.
Yeah.
Well, that's German, so we are a German consultancy company. And, we consult and train people in the context of software and systems engineering, so all the hotspots that are in those projects. So systems engineering, like what we did here, software engineering, software architectures, project management, but also soft skills and organization of companies. So that's the stuff we do.
This is interesting because I think that there's all of the stuff that you guys are doing, which is great, and I really can appreciate it. But all of the efforts here, there's a real necessity to educate. You guys just live it. You guys have that conversation. You've got your posse, your technical posse, and you have these conversations, and then you all thumbs up, and that's great. But then there's the masses, me included, that need to be on this journey, to tell the story, to understand why it's important, and it's not out, and it's approachable. Like I don't have to worry about. I know that we have to do it, but it's just an interesting challenge that there needs to be this education component. Now, with that said, there's my segue, just because I know what you're doing. You guys have a podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
because you're passionate about education too.
Right.
It has to. If you're not, then don't have a podcast, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Give us a little background on, and this to you, Christian, or who started the podcast first? Were you guys just sort of hanging out together and you said, hey, let's have a podcast?
It's basically
exactly that.
You were having a beer and then, let's do a podcast.
I think it was in combination with a beer.
Yes. We were in preparation for a conference in Germany, and we talked about things of SysML v2, and it was getting more and more and more, and we thought we can't do all that in our presentation on the conference. And by the way, why isn't there a podcast about it?
Wow.
And we decided, let's start
Look
one.
at this. There it is, man. Yeah. I love that. And for that flavor, what is the focus of your podcast, Tim?
The focus is model-based systems engineering, so that's the overall topic. And then we, have each podcast episode a guest from this domain and talk about a tool or whatever.
See, I've always looked at podcasts as sort of a way of just sort of wetting the whistle of interest. So, it's like it's a podcast, and that means you're not going to dive real deep, but I'm always fascinated by topics like yours because fortunately for many, I can't do that. I just sort of like, hey, this is great stuff. But for you have that sort of deep conversations into the technology, into what's taking place.
Yeah.
How do you manage the time, right? How long are you? I mean, come on, as well as I do. It could pretty much ramble on for a little while. How do you? What's your strategy behind the timing of these conversations?
Yeah, so we basically plan to have 30 minutes episodes.
How do you discuss I mean, I can understand how I do it. Mine's all just fluffy. But how do you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So with a maximum of 60 minutes, but we know that listeners hear it while they commute, and 30 minutes is a good time frame. And yeah, we are definitely preparing a kind of a script in advance. So we have a kind of a Google document, sharing it with our guests with some basic questions where we want to get around and where we don't want to get around, maybe. And
you're definitely better than me. I just sort of go like, yeah, talk to me about that. What, really, man? All right, that's great. Yeah, I take the position that I'm the student and I'm there to learn, and I'll ask the questions that I'll never get. I mean, it just is what it is. But I enjoy that dialogue. I enjoy. So, Tim, so you have this passion, this desire. You're now you've got this podcast, and it's a video, right?
Yep.
And what was it like for the first one?
Well, the first one was very exciting, and we did it without a guest, and we did it in German, not in English, to be more on the safe side. And yeah, I think it was only 6 minutes or 10 minutes. It was the Hello World, Here We Are podcast.
Yeah.
So it was very short. And then the next one, I think, was also only with us and in German. And then we got more and more experienced.
So when I went down that road, and I said, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I remember vividly the first one, because I had everything in place, right? You got the mics, you got all this stuff, right? And you go, well, I guess I got to do it, right? I got to have a conversation. And then just doing it, and then you get it done. I remember somebody downloaded it, and I said, what? And one person, but it was like, victory! I'm running with that one, And it's so funny because, but then again, your format, your focus, you have to bring a sense of expertise too.
Yes.
It's not like me. You have to be able to have that expertise and be able to add real value and expand upon it. Do you use some of the stuff here from OMG in it, and this is what we're doing, that type of thing, and be able to sort of bring that to that attention too, into your podcast?
Sure. Especially when we are talking about the SysML v2. So we had several episodes now. We had an unboxing episode looking into the public available version. We had Ed Seidowitz one time on the podcast. We are planning other podcast episodes now when the release is coming. And there, of course, came all the information and all the experience we gathered in the last years of SysML v2.
Do you, let me dismiss all here, do you get individuals approaching you and saying, how can I get involved, right? How can I be a part of OMG or what you're doing? How do I get involved? Do you have that, Tim?
You mean to get involved in the OMG?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. I hear what you're saying. I'm pretty stoked about the information. I want to get involved. I'm a company, and I think that adds value.
Well, many people are interested in how it works here at the OMG. But then when they...
I'm still trying to figure it out. You do it.
Typically in Germany, most companies I know then, when they realize, okay, it costs effort, I have to travel to the US and so on, then they say, no, I don't have time for that.
We'll listen to your podcast.
You can go and then you can tell us
and then tell
afterwards.
us, and then I'll take notes, and then if I have any questions, I'll talk to you.
Right.
No, but that's very interesting. Christian, how long have you been doing what you do, your business, from a professional perspective? How long?
Depends on how you count it. So I'm in my fourth year now and in contact software, but I was working as a research assistant at the University of Kaiserslautern for 5.5 years before in the same field.
Oh, there you go. And you, Tim?
Oh, I am then at my company since now 21 years.
No way.
Very long time.
Yes.
And, well,
look at you.
Very special company. So we are cooperative. So the company is owned by all the employees.
Is it really? I'm sorry. I'm looking at it, so don't mind me as I look at it. I'll fill in the blank spaces with voice. So it is. So everybody owns it.
Everybody owns it, and we are also self-organized, so we got rid of all our bosses. So we have
I don't know. I don't understand that. How do you do that?
So, but it's self-organized, so we have an organizational structure.
Of course. It's not like some crazy. Hey, here we go.
Do whatever you do.
Right.
Well, we have some rules how to do decisions, and but there's no boss there. Well, on the paper, I'm the boss, so, but only on the paper. So,
that's brilliant. And the .de, is that where is that?
.de is Germany.
Is that Germany?
Yeah, that's Germany.
I didn't know that. Look at yours. Make sure that that's the case. I'll be the. You got to
internationalized.
There it is. Whatever. All right.
Okay.
How do people get a hold of you, Christian? They're saying, hey, I want to get a hold of Christian. What's the best way to talk to you? Email.
LinkedIn, email, any social networks.
Oh, hey, what's the name of your podcast?
It's the MBSE podcast. And it's available on YouTube, on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, and Apple Music.
There it is. Yeah. And Tim, how do they get a hold of you?
The best is on LinkedIn, I would say, but I'm also on any other platform, so you find me on Facebook, Insta, whatever.
I love it. Yeah, I don't use Facebook. It's all LinkedIn. I'm not going to put a little Facebook link out there. All right. You guys are absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much for, well, you just came up to me last night and just said, hey, it'd be great. We do a podcast. Oh, I got all hyperventilated. I thought it was great. All right, we're going to have all the contact information for Tim and Christian out on Industrial Talk. So fear not, you will be able to contact them, and you must contact them because they're that good. All right, stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
That was Christian and Tim. Thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk and delivering some truth bombs at the OMG Q4 meeting in Austin, Texas. Now, here's the call to action for everybody out there. 1, you need to make sure that you are constantly educating. Just like Christian and Tim, they're constantly feeding their minds, and they're trying to learn more and more, and they're trying to gain greater insights into all of the activity and all of the innovations that are taking place in industry. That's 1. 2, to do that effectively, I highly recommend that you go out to omg.org. And the reason I say that is that there's just a collection of problem solvers out there that are all engaged and that are all passionate about solving problems. And because it is happening at such a tremendous speed, you need to be able to do that, and you need to be able to innovate as you go along too. And that just requires you to educate, collaborate, and of course, innovate. And Christian and Tim, definitely. We're going to have all the contact information for those two gents out on Industrial Talk. So if you want to reach out to them, please make that a priority. And the reason why I keep on harping on this whole innovation stuff and this need to educate, I am an F1 nut. So I'm going to be doing a series on how to line up F1 racing with industry and taking the principles of F1 and why it's so incredible and trying to align it with industry. So be on the lookout for that series. All right, be bold, be brave, dare greatly. You've got some call to actions. Reach out to these two gents in OMG, and you're going to change the world. So we're going to have more coming from this event, so stay tuned.